In today's video, we are going to look at using a whole life insurance policy for college planning. We've got a relatively simple case today. We've got a couple in their early 30s. The husband's 31. They just had a newborn child and they are considering a whole life insurance policy for maximum cash value, but specifically want to see what the policy looks like if they use it for their kids' college. So the great news is that they're planning very early, which is always good to see because I think most people by nature procrastinate quite a bit, meaning start to plan at the last minute, and now we've got all this unnecessary stress. So they just had their child and college starts in about 17 years. So what they have that's on their side is a word that most people feel like they have none of, right? I have no time. Have you ever felt like that? They've got a lot of it and they're starting to look at options now, which is great. So what we're going to look at today is, again, using a policy for college planning. But as I met with the couple, the first thing we hit on was this. When we look to use a policy for college planning, how the loans work, all of that is so important, but this is the most important piece because if we get this wrong, setting up the policy, designing it correctly, that will negatively impact your cash value. And then when it comes time for college, you've got less money than what you could have had. So the design is so important. So with that initial design or setup, the funding amount, $20K per year, and that's the maximum dollar amount that they want to add to a policy right now. Now, I put maximum for a reason. You're going to see the payments going into a policy will be $20,000 per year, but that is not what they're committed to. The minimum premium is $2,000 in the example we'll look at. With the term rider, their true minimum commitment comes out to, it's a little bit less than this, but call it $2,400 per year. Why I use that number there is if they wanted to, they could easily commit to $200 per month and then set the policy up where they can add more to the policy later. So they can commit to a minimum amount and add up to $20,000 per year. The funding time period, 15 years max. Now, where that came from, college starts in about 17 years. So what they would like to do is get money into the policy and then be done with funding, just let it continue to grow, kind of like they would with a college savings plan. They're going to continue to dedicate funds toward that college savings plan until it's time for college and then not add any more money there because they're going to use it for college. However, when we actually look at using it, we're going to look at taking loans, paying them back, what's the impact, also not paying it back, but I'll get to that in a little bit. Flexibility. So different policy options, going back to setting up the policy correctly. We looked at options with MassMutual and Guardian, two of your four major mutual companies, to provide a quick overview here regarding the difference in payment flexibility is as follows. If $20K per year is your max, both policies can be set up with a minimum premium of just about $2,000 per year. The difference is we can make payment adjustments with MassMutual one time per year, every year, on our policy anniversary date, which is a fancy word for our premium due date. So what that means is you could pay $20K in the first year. Say the second year things are slow, you only want to pay in $10,000. We adjust the payment amount to $10,000 when your payment is due. And then the next year, year three, if you said, okay, I want to add more, go back up to 20, we would have to wait until the policy anniversary date. At that point, adjust the payments upward, and then you could send the funds in. But if we do it that one time per year, we just update it in the back end. There's no underwriting, and it's quite convenient. Whereas Guardian, this is really their advantage here, we can commit to the minimum payment only, $2,000, and then at leisure, you can just throw more money into PUAs. So they're very flexible there. If you like the idea of committing to a minimum amount and that's all you have to pay each year and adding more at discretion, they give you that. College time. So college is in about 17 years. When that time comes, what we are looking at in terms of an expense right now is as follows: $50K per year for 4 years, which is a total of $200,000. What we're going to look at is using the life insurance policy. We're going to take loans, but when we take those loans, we're going to look at what happens if we pay them back in full. When we are taking loans and repaying them, remember that we're no longer making premium payments. Number two, what does it look like if you take loans and pay interest only? And then number 3, what does it look like if you take loans and don't pay anything back at all? What's the impact there? And then we'll also look at an alternate amount, since we're looking at college 17 years down the road and things always have a way of increasing in price. So what we'll look at here is 4 payments of $80,000, which is a total of $320,000. So before we get to that, here's some things I want to mention here. And when it comes to college planning, the big question is, did it make sense to use a whole life insurance policy based on the numbers? Again, having a laser focus on the numbers here. Here's what we will measure. And this is good to measure in any loan scenario. If you're looking to use a policy for business, real estate, whatever. What is the cash value growing by each year? The annual cash value growth, net cash value growth, not including your payments. Then what's the total cash value growth over the life of the policy, or we can measure every 10, 20, 30 years. What's the annual loan interest expense? How much are you paying in loan interest to the insurance company on a yearly basis? And then what's the total interest you've paid over time? And in short, what we want to look at is how much did I receive from the insurance company in dividends and interest, and how much did I pay to the insurance company in dividends and interest. So we're going to map out all years. We are starting the plan in 2022. So we're going to map out as the years pass and see, okay, when college time comes, about 2037, what's the policy growing by each year? What am I paying in loan interest? And then just compare it side by side. This way the numbers tell me if it's a good idea or if it's not a good idea. So let's have some fun, shall we? So what we'll begin with is the growth illustration. So we've got a MassMutual 15 pay in this particular example. There's our funding, $20K per year. Where your money is going, here's your premium up top, $2,000. Then we've got several other riders. Here's a term rider attached. Then we've got PUA riders and such. It's a minimum expense policy, maximum cash value. You can tell. Far right, not far right, but toward the right, total cash value end year, $18,000, just about 18K. Break-even point, so close in year 4. Year 5, you're positive, meaning you've got more money in cash value than what you have paid into the product. And we paid into this policy for 15 years because they do not want to pay into it longer. The death benefit's about $430,000. Where we came up with that dollar figure is because that death benefit gives this individual a $20,000 MEC limit, and that's the dollar amount he wants to pay in. That MEC limit, we always want close to whatever our total desired payment is. So if he said, I might want to pay in $50,000 per year, or during some years, then I might raise that MEC limit, which would be a result of raising the death benefit, to $50K. All right, so let's take a look here at some loan scenarios. Actually, first, I mentioned MassMutual and Guardian. We said we're going to look at the different options, or we went through different options with respect to flexibility. So if you're working with us, or if we are working with you, we're looking at options, maybe it's for college planning, or we're modeling out loans for whatever. I'm a big believer in showing different products and just illustrating how to maximize the growth first. This shows the MassMutual 15 pay policy we just looked at. Then we've got a Guardian L95 based on the present dividend rate. Then also illustrating their indexed rider, which these two are actually the exact same policy. What Guardian has is a rider that allows you to link your cash value to the S&P 500 index. It is still a whole life insurance policy. You can actually flip back and forth between the dividend and index feature over the years, 50% dividend, 50% index. You can be very creative there. We've got a video, a couple of them, but one in particular that goes through the indexed rider in full details and provides full details. So there's a couple different growth examples. We're looking at MassMutual for the loan scenarios, and let's begin with a no repayment scenario. So this will show what the policy looks like if he takes those $50,000 loans for his kid's college, 17 years down the road, and doesn't pay anything back. So what we've got here on the left is the growth illustration. This way, you can see the exact impact that policy loans had on your policy. So your total payments, how much did you pay into this? $300,000, and by year 15, you've got about $400,000. That is based on the present dividend rate. That will change over time, so tracking the actual performance is important. However, what do we start this video with? What does he have? What does the couple have that we all wish we had more of? Time. I wish I had more time. So why I say that is funding a policy for 15 years and then giving it another year just to stew, to compound, really puts him in a good position. So here we go, calendar year 2022. We've got the exact same illustration. All of this is exported from the illustration software. Here's my annual loans. $50K per year for 4 years, actually beginning 2038. Okay. Here's your loan balance. Compounding. Why it's compounding is because here's your loan interest that you're not paying. If you have a loan outstanding, on your premium anniversary date, you're going to receive your annual statement from the company, but you'll also receive a statement with loan interest that says, please pay, otherwise the policy may lapse. Now the policy will lapse if you're not paying premiums, if you don't pay the loan interest, and there's not enough cash value in the policy to cover that loan interest. So usually we're fine, but in a case like this, he's got plenty of cash value to cover the loan interest. If he does not pay the loan interest, because this is a no repayment scenario, what happens with that loan interest is that it's still due. The policy will take a loan against itself. It borrows against the cash value. We see the death benefit collateralized as well. So it does result in some drag on policy performance. You go backwards just a little bit as a result. However, am I actually going backwards when I look at the numbers here? So let's look at this. After the 4 years of loans, year 21, loan interest of 10 grand. That's what's due. I'm not paying it. The policy is taking a loan against itself. What's the net growth? So this cash value column here represents the net growth year over year. It factors in that loan interest. So even with that loan interest there, I still have a net gain there of about 15 grand. And the reason why is how life insurance works. This is a non-direct recognition policy as well, is we continue to earn dividends on our entire cash value as if a loan was not outstanding in the first place. So I'm compounding on everything, my entire balance, 500K plus, and interest is due on the 200,000 plus. So yes, I've got a greater volume of money at work for me than what's working against me. So I can look at this case, how some people view this is, okay, I gave the insurance company $300,000. I took out $200,000. So my net input is $100,000. And here's my cash value over time. And what this tells me, just looking at it briefly, is even if we kick the dividend rate down 50 to 100 basis points or increase the loan rate 100 to 150 basis points, we'll be fine. Meaning I don't have to worry about a situation here where the loan interest expenses are going to exceed the earnings in the policy and we've got a potential lapse down the road along with a tax bill. We don't want that. So we want to forecast that up front, which a lot of times we'll do in the back end. But my point is here, he's got plenty of money in the policy where we do not have to worry about it in a worst case scenario. Now that's based on the $50,000 per year loans. So what we'll look at next is the same thing, but paying interest only. So same policy. There's my $50,000 annual loans. Here's the loan balance. Does it increase in this example? It does not, and the reason why is because here in light red, you've got the loan interest that comes due, and in purple, that assumes interest you're paying. Interest comes due, you pay it out of pocket, preventing the policy from having to loan against itself to cover the loan interest. And then this example here assumes that we cover the loan interest forever, which you don't have to. One might say, okay, I'm going to cover the loan interest until I'm 60 and then I'm not going to pay anything. This way, I just prevent compounding for a period of time and let my policy continue to compound just to outpace that loan interest. But what you'll see in a case like this, The loan balance, the highest it ever gets, is $200K. Look at year 30. Cash value is $611. Death benefits 1.154. Add 200K to 1.154, and what do you get? 1.354. Look at your cash value. If you add 200K to it, a little bit more, I'm 820. My point here is if the loan is repaid at any point in time, you'll see your cash value and death benefit fully restored to the numbers we see on the growth illustration. Let's look at that actually. So here, what we've got, same thing. In fact, let me do this real quick. Okay, just for some space before I go to that. So as we scroll down, what we did in this particular example, here's my annual loans, 50K per year. There's my loan balance. While he is taking loans, he's not paying anything back. He is paying the loan interest. That's his out of pocket. Then what he begins to do is pay the loan interest along with $20,000 per year toward the principal. So what we did is basically say, okay, I paid $20K per year as far as my payments, and I'm just going to redirect the $20,000 per year payments toward the loan. Loan principal, that is. His out of pocket is actually more when we account for the loan interest, but you can pay the loan back however you want. Here's what I want to hit on. Cash value, 820. Death benefit, 1354. What do we have over here? Cash value, 820. Death benefit, 1354. Everything's fully restored to exactly what it would have been as if I never touched it in the first place. That's the point of attraction. That's why a lot of people like to leverage cash value life insurance. Going back to what we want to map out and measure, or really this, did it make sense based on the numbers? Specifically, measuring the annual cash value growth, total growth, and then doing the same thing with the interest. How much did I get and how much did I give? How much did I receive from the insurance company? How much did I pay them in interest? Here we go. Annual CV growth represents what the policy is growing by each year. And then total CV growth represents the total growth over a certain period of time. As an example, year 5, cash value, year prior was 79. I paid in 20. Now it's 102. What that means is I got my 20 back plus another 2860 on top of it. Also looking at year 5, I've paid in a total of $105,000. I have 102,615. So the difference is your gain, or the total growth over here, 2615. If I look at it by year 15, I've paid in 300, cash value is 401. There's my total gain over there, the 101 and change. And then here is that annual growth the year prior. So what this allows one to do is measure the annual growth compared to the total growth, and then look at this. Annual loan interest paid, total interest paid. Fun stuff, right? So here's the annual interest. We can compare this. Let's put this in a light beige color. How's that? So now I can see, okay, annually I've earned $21,000. I paid $2,300. At the peak of the loan balance and interest, $93.40. I've earned almost $25. Like, this is not really a fair scenario. It's too weighted in favor of the policy because I'm not loaning all of it. It's a healthy position to be in if you're a consumer, but it is making it seem like whole life is the best thing ever, which has got a lot of benefits. By age 60, total interest paid, $65K. Let's put this in light blue. And then the total growth at this point in time is $520,000. Okay. So what you can do to kind of play around with the numbers is, here's a cash value collateral loan workbook, which we can do the same thing with the loan interest. So here, we've got the $80,000 loans coming out. Here's the interest due. We ran it also at 6%, increased the loan rate. There's the loan interest paid out of pocket. Here's the total interest payments. So now what I can look at here, 1920 or 19.2, that's what I paid in loan interest when my loan balance was $320,000. See where I'm going with that? Outstanding loan of $320,000, interest at 6%, $19,200. Then, what did the policy grow by that year? $23,833. All right, sweet. I'm ahead in this particular case. Move the loan up to years 5 and 6 in this particular case, I won't be ahead. Not in this example, but we'll look at it in every example. Now, paying the loan back at $20K per year, total interest paid, $192. Total gains, $788. My point is, we can look at different numbers. A lot of people like to see this, including myself, just to make an informed decision. And everyone we work with won't walk through this full, long, detailed presentation. A lot of times, it's just the end result. Here's the total gain. Here's the annual gain compared to the total interest and annual interest paid. And you can look at it year by year. Am I ahead? Am I behind? Or just tell me, Steve, should I start paying it earlier? Should I not take a loan out? What makes sense to make sure I'm always ahead? Everyone's different. But in any event, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I love going through this kind of stuff. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe for more. And as always, I hope this helps. Thanks so much. Hey guys, Steve Parisi here. If you enjoyed the content you just saw, please subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for future videos. If you'd like more information or to see some custom policies for yourself, feel free to call or email our offices at the contact information below.